This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 17, is that the CFR, which stands for the Council on Foreign Relations, they just issued out their Conflicts to Watch in 2026 report. All right. And when I scroll down to the overview, the first sentence, all right, is what put the spirit on me to bring out the book of Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17, because even the CFR, okay, the Council on Foreign Relations, they're letting their audience know that the world will continue to grow more violently and disorderly, okay? So this is why the Lord set up the prophets, okay? And the prophets are going to be coming out of the nation of Israel, all right? To warn our people of that sword that's coming, all right? Because I'm going to get into the topics, all right, that the CFR is bringing out regarding conflicts to watch, okay? Top conflicts, as they call it, top conflicts to watch in 2026, all right? And as we go into 2026, you got a lot of these pseudo-Hebrew Israelites that are in the spirit of apostasy, in the spirit of selling out, and in the spirit of agent activity, whether they're an agent of the spiritual demon Satan, or they're an agent to the physical counterpart of Satan, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right? And everything's going to be revealed, all right? Everything will be revealed, and the Lord is revealing, and the Lord is judging too, okay? The Lord is going to be destroying a lot of you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites that haven't been warning, okay, the Lord's people, that have been on podcasts giggling and laughing, okay? Like I just saw recently, it was on my algorithm on X, Captain Tazariak on the Jake Shield podcast show, all right, going back and forth, all right, with a 1948er, you know, and their whole back and forth was who's the real Jew and not. And there was no edification whatsoever, man. They were laughing and giggling, and then, you know, Jake Shields and Captain Tazariak laughing and giggling because Jake Shield, he can't stand them JJs either. You know, it was one big confusion, and no edification came out of it, all right? And again, we're not in a time of going back and forth, okay, with these JJs, all right? We're in a time of prophecy. That's the spirit of Yahushai, the spirit of prophecy. Let me get that, okay? Because it's going back and forth madness, all right? The Lord's, all right, it's gonna start making examples out of you pseudo Hebrew Israelites that don't want to do what the Lord has asked you to do, all right? Warn his people and be in the spirit of prophecy. You're not doing that. Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, right? This is an angel, all right? That's telling John the Revelator, who's an Israelite, okay, to don't worship me, okay? I'm your fellow servant, and I'm your brethren, okay? That have the testimony of Yahushai, right? The testimony of Yahushai. Worship the Most High, right? All right? You're supposed to worship Yahweh, and you're supposed to worship Yahushai, okay? Now, of course, Yahweh gets the greater glory. That's why we say, and like I always say in the beginning of my lessons, Barakatah Yahweh, all right? Barakatah Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh meaning bless you, Yahweh, okay? And then Barakatah Yahushai, bless you, Yahushai, okay? Because Yahushai is worthy to be worshipped too. But we all know that Yahweh gets the greater glory, gets the greater worship, okay? Just to edify that point, lesson within lessons. For the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy. You see that? So you got to be in the spirit of prophecy. And what I'm bringing out is prophetic, all right, to what the Lord said is going to happen in the near future, okay? So let's get it in. So you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites that want to be friends with the world, that are in that James, okay, 4:4 spirit. You know what? Let me get that. I have it up because I was meditating on this because you got a lot of these pseudo-Hebrew Israelites that want to be friends with the world. That's why they're going on these podcasts, okay? That's why they laughing and giggling with unbelievers, okay? James chapter 4, verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, right? So the Lord's calling you an adulterer, okay? So being friends with the world, you're committing spiritual fornication, okay? Spiritual adultery. Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High, right? You become an enemy to the Most High power, Yahweh. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High power, Yahweh, and his son, Yahushai. Facts, okay? So in the NLT version, just to make it plain, you adulterers, don't you realize that friendship with the world make you an enemy of the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai? I say it again, if you want to be friend of the world, you make yourself an enemy of the Most High power, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, right? Okay? So that's plain. So now, let's go to this overview. Because we're here to warn our people of impending doom. The sword is coming. The sword is coming. In fact, let's read on. Ezekiel 3:18. When I say, no, that's not what I want. I want this one. The watchman's duty. This is what I want. Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people. Who are the children of thy people? The Israelites, okay? Which consists of mainly the so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, okay? And say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and send him for their watchmen, right? Who are the watchmen? The prophets, okay? 3, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Right, this is us blowing the trumpet, making these videos, okay? All right, showing you, all right? Look what the CFR is talking about. They know it's about to get more chaotic in 2026. It's going to be more violent and more disorderly, meaning chaos, okay? And we've been said this, starting with our past elders, that it's only going to get worse until the destruction, the nuclear destruction. And warn, okay, so Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 3. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. 4. Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take away, his blood shall be upon his own head. Right, and this is why we go into prophecy. This is why we talk about, okay, Jacob's trouble. All right, this is why we talk about the RFID chip, the mark of the beast, and the whole infrastructure is being built for it. All right, because we see that sword coming, because we know what comes with it. Okay, death, okay, because anyone that all right, takes that chip, that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, okay, you take it, you die in nuclear fire. Facts. You're going to be tormented in that fire, pursuant to Revelation, the 14th chapter, starting at the 8th verse on down. So here we go. Overview. This is from the Council on Foreign Relations. Let's get. If you don't know who the Council on Foreign Relations is, the Council on Foreign Relations, once again, is an American think tank. Okay, this is where the real decisions are made. Who attends the Council on Foreign Relations? You know what? Let me get. I asked, provide attendees of the 2025 Annual Council on the Foreign Relations. Okay? So who attends? Bankers, okay? Politicians, all right? More bankers, because Credit Suisse, all right, is another banking, all right? Professors, okay? And when you ask Google AI, what is the Council on Foreign Relations? The Council on Foreign Relations is an independent, nonpartisan American think tank and publisher that promotes understanding of U.S. foreign policy and international affairs. Okay, it was founded in 1921. Okay, so and you have all sorts of different individuals that show up, from military personnel to the CIA to the FBI to the media conglomerates, okay, to the CEOs of different corporations, again, bankers, like I just showed, politicians, like I just showed, okay? So, yeah. So, and this is where the decisions are made. So, look what they're saying. The overview. The world continues to grow more violent and disorderly. According to CFR's annual conflict risk assessment, American foreign policy experts are acutely concerned about conflict-related threats to U.S. national security and international stability that are likely to emerge or intensify in 2026. In this report, surveyed experts rate global conflicts by their likelihood and potential harm to U.S. interests, and for the first time identify opportunities for preventive actions, which there's nothing that's going to stop it, all right, because you can't stop prophecy. You can't stop the will of the Lord. Everything's leading to the nuclear destruction. We're just waiting for that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, okay? So let's look at all the red. There's a lot, okay, of what they consider high priority and or moderate, but they also, well, like for example, right here, cyber attack. So the likelihood is, they're saying moderate, okay? So they're saying that this may occur in 2026, a cyber attack, and the impact would be high, which it will affect, okay, the country. A cyber attack, a state of a non-state or non-state entity or undertakes a highly disrupted artificial intelligence enabled cyber attack on U.S. critical infrastructure, right? For example, take out the power, okay? Take out the some banks, okay? Take out the water supply, all right? There's been cyber attacks on the water supply, all right? Yeah, all right? And the likelihood is moderate. It's not low, it's moderate. So this is this could happen. Check this out. U.S. political violence. They're saying high. So the CFR is saying, yeah, get ready for civil unrest. Get ready for sedition. U.S. political violence. Growing political violence and popular unrests in the United States. Exacerbated, meaning caused harm by heightened political antagonism and domestic security deployments. Yep, because people are getting weary and getting annoyed with the National Guard being deployed in their cities. Okay? Because I asked Google AI, what is domestic security deployments? Domestic security deployments involve the use of federal or state military forces, primarily the National Guard, and specialized federal law enforcement units within U.S. borders for specific non-foreign warfare missions. Okay? So it's domestic that they're focusing on. All right? And their primary goals to what? Maintain or restore public safety, meaning stop the civil unrest, stop civil disobedience. What if scripture comes to mind? All right, what is this alluding to? Civil war, right? Because that's what the National Guard is being sent out for, all right, to try to stop or prevent, a civil war, which in turn they're going to be part of that civil war, okay? Because there's going to be a sedition within the United States National Guard. A lot of these guard members, look. Okay, let's first let me bring out the scripture, Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right. So automatically it's the Lord that's going to put a spirit on these National Guard members to not follow orders from Donald Trump, okay, and the Goomba Squad. Okay? You're going to have high-ranking officers that oversee the National Guard, okay, particular units that are not going to go along, once again, with Donald Trump's orders, okay? Then you're also going to have governors from different states that are like, you know what? I'm not going to go along with this order, all right? Yeah, all right? Then you're going to have the civilians who are going to go up against the National Guard members that are being oppressive. Okay? So yeah. Then you're going to have federal law enforcement that are either going to be for it or against it. There's going to be division. Okay? The Lord's going to set this up. Okay? The Lord is going to set this up. You're also going to have police force divided. Yeah. Okay? So a civil unrest is coming. This is why, they're trying to do damage control. All right, but again, all it takes is one charismatic, high-ranking officer out of the National Guard to say, "I'm not going along with this," and you just created a firestorm. So that's that conflict. All right, that is high. Check this out. War in Venezuela. Get ready. It's coming. The CFR is predicting that the war in Venezuela will occur. U.S. military operations targeting transnational criminal groups escalate to direct strikes in Venezuela. This is why Delta Force, all right, you're seeing reports of Trump is preparing to launch Delta Force operations, which I'm going to say this. You never tell your enemy you're coming. They're already there. Facts. Okay? And what you're seeing is Vietnam 2.0, but it's going to be a whole lot worse. All right? Now, why am I saying that? This is why you got to know history. Did you know that in the late 1950s, that special forces from America were in Vietnam? Yeah. This is why, hold up. Because everybody's, you got individuals out there, oh, Vietnam started in the 60s. No, it didn't. It started in the late 50s, the Vietnam War. Okay, first let's get our time facts here. When did the Vietnam War start? Okay, November 1st, 1955 is when the Vietnam War was the official start. All right, now, in 1955, this is the most commonly cited start date. Okay, now, check this out. When did the U.S. begin sending special forces in Vietnam? 1957. The U.S. began deploying special forces to Vietnam as early as 1957, starting with small teams from the 1st Special Forces Group training Vietnamese soldiers. Okay? Nothing new on the sun. There's already U.S. troops in Venezuela right now. Okay? That war is about to get a whole lot bigger, and get ready for a draft. You know what? Let me get this. All right, we here, the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Shai, we are not playing games. All right, we take this truth deadly serious. This is what we look at. We look at the prophecies because we want to get the hell up out of here. Okay, this place is is death. We were literally walking in the valley of the shadow of death. But what is it? Second Esdras. Oh, I hate that this thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it this way. I'm gonna have to circumvent. Let me do Sirach 5 and 7 real quickly. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Right. This is why we're telling our people to seek the Lord now. All right. You don't want to get caught out there in this war. Okay. The wars are coming. Okay. There will be a draft. All right. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this out because it's able for me to now create an easier route to Second Esdras, and I believe it's the is it the 16th? Let's see. Yep. Second Esdras 16, verse 33. The virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms, right? Because a lot of men are about to die in these wars. Okay? Even you're seeing reports that Venezuela is going to be the new Vietnam. Okay? Yeah, this one right here was powerful. This is from WION. This is Chinese. This is the Moab's news media. Okay, in English. And I always I recommend brothers and sisters go on to the Chinese this WION. They bring out some good stuff. You know that America's hiding. Another Vietnam. Why Uncle Sam's ground invasion of Venezuela could turn deadly for U.S. Army. Facts. Okay, facts. All right. So the women shall mourn having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. You see that? 34. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and the husband shall perish of famine. Right. And there's going to be a lot of famine. Okay? In Babylon the Great and abroad. Okay? So not only this country's got to worry about civil war, this country's also got to worry about, the war in their backyard. All right? And this is when Russia and China will be able to get their pound of flesh because they're going to supply, they're going to guide, they're going to assist Venezuela in this war against America. Just like in the Vietnam War, it was China and Russia assisting North Vietnam to fight against America and South Vietnam. Okay? When you look at back to Vietnam, nothing new under the sun. Okay? Vietnam is a good example of how everything's about to go. Okay? Let me show you something. All right? Who participated? Knowledge shall increase. Who participated in Vietnam War? All right? So, North Vietnam and its allies. You had North Vietnam, Viet Cong, Soviet Union, Russia provided military and economic aid. China offered military support, weapons training, financial aid, and North Korea. Now, doesn't that sound what we're seeing again? Okay, well, not with Vietnam, but what I'm talking about is China, Russia, China, North Korea. Okay, only this time. All right, I don't know what dealings that North Korea has with Venezuela. I don't know but if they do, all right, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? Let me look this up. North Korea and Venezuela relations. Venezuela and Korea share a growing alliance rooted in shared anti-U.S. sentiment and mutual opposition to Western sanctions, marked by deepening diplomatic ties, recent high-level visits. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, throw in North Korea in that mofo. So North Korea gonna get their pound of flesh. They gonna get their lick in. Yeah, this is what's happening. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a meat grinder. And get ready for a draft. Okay? So that's what happened in Vietnam. All right? And then South Vietnam allies, what? It was U.S., South Korea, and then, everybody, all these individuals. Okay, so there you go. No, so we're in these times, man. Okay, the prophecies are speaking. This is why we're here to warn our people. You want to be protected. America's not going to be safe. Okay, this place is going to be a madhouse. So now you got this. All right. Now let's move over to the Middle East. All right. Just get used to seeing women, children getting blown, okay, away, getting destroyed in Gaza Strip and the West Bank. All right. The Middle East in general. Also, you got Iran. Okay. This conflict ain't going away. All right. You also got Ukraine. This conflict ain't going away. Okay. You also got in China, Taiwan. Now this one right here, okay, is definitely keep eyes on. Okay, besides the Middle East. Okay, because this is where is going to turn up. I just saw a report how China just did a drill. Okay. Circling Taiwan, I believe it, right? Let me see. Let me show you something here. China, Taiwan, news. China announces war games, around Taiwan after hitting out a major U.S. arms deal. Why China's holding military drills around Taiwan and the history behind it. China launches snap warning drills around Taiwan. Stern warning, China's military holds live drills around Taiwan. Right. Let's get the World War III scripture. Okay. Revelation 11 and 14. Okay, because a world war, the world has to be involved, right? Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right. We already had our World War I, our World War II. Now we're literally in World War III, the beginning stages of World War III. It's only going to get worse. Okay, 2026 is looking spicy. That's why you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites, those that wanted to play games with the Lord's words, that want to be in that spirit of apostasy, all right? And again, 2026 is the year of apostasy, sellouts, and agents. You're going to be judged for not warning your people, for not warning the Lord's people, okay? Because the Lord told us to warn our people. All right. So yeah, you can look at this. I think I hit the point. It went longer than anticipated, but it's the spirit. All right. And I gave you some articles. I just don't talk out the side of my mouth. I prove all things as the scriptures say. And I just show the articles and I line it up with the scriptures. Okay. The Bible been said this was going to happen. Just the news articles give it color. That's it. And with that, I want to give it all praise and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out of here. To the few sisters that are watching, keep studying. And when you pray, pray, check, cover. Shalom. Almost out of here. Shalom.